Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic day. It's March 2nd, 2017. Finishing off the half day of meetings here. Alex had messaged me about wanting to know about entrepreneurship and how it changes your perspective. So one of the first things that I'll talk about, number one, is how it does. Number one, does it? Question mark? Absolutely. And I think the biggest thing that you'll find when you decide to be an entrepreneur is that it's about ownership. And what I mean by that is, as you have different projects, different tasks that need to get done, the buck stops with you. If it doesn't get done, the only person you have to blame is yourself, because you're the entrepreneur. So even if you have staff, you can't blame it on them. So in this scenario, what happens is, let's say right now, just me, solo entrepreneur. The problem that we run into as being an entrepreneur is that you wear so many different hats. I'm the visionary, right? So I'm the entrepreneur. I'm thinking about the future. I'm the technician. I'm worried about right now. And you also wear the other hat of the manager, where you're focused on the past and what results drove to that past. And so you're wearing these different hats. And that concept comes from the book E-Myth Revisited, or Entrepreneur Myth Revisited. And it's the idea that even if you're a solo practitioner, you want to be able to create a process and a system to eventually remove you out of that equation, because no matter how good you are, if you want your business to last beyond you, you want to have some kind of legacy, you want to be able to figure out how can you remove yourself out of the equation and let all things continue to run forward. The other concept that you'll recognize real quickly being an entrepreneur is that you cannot be a jack of all trades, right? You can't be a mile deep and a mile wide when it comes to your expertise on a whole multitude of different concepts, right? You can't be the number one sales individual in your business and also the number one technician, right? And so let's say, for example, I run a bakery. I could be the greatest baker, right? I produce an amazing amount of muffins, but then I can't also then be the front of the house. And then I also can't be the best at running the inventory, and also at hiring and firing of staff and developing them to be able to do some of the different tasks. And so what happens is, one of the mistakes that some entrepreneurs make is they try to be the jack of all trades. They think it's that old adage, well, if it needs to get done, it needs to be done best by me. Wrong. That means, number one, you've hired wrong, and number two, you haven't actually handed off anything of value to your employees. You haven't given them ownership, and by giving them ownership, that means they're going to make mistakes. And understand that the mistakes are fine. We all make mistakes when it comes to business. Nobody's running a perfectly run ship. And so the biggest perspective that changes when you're an entrepreneur is that everything is on you. All the weight of the business, it's driving for the revenue, it's growth rate, it's handling of the books, it's all on you, because you might have staff that you've been able to, or you've contracted out to, let's say, an accountant or an attorney. You still need to be able to be the quarterback, if I can use that analogy, quarterback of all those moving parts. So even if it's just me, solo practitioner, I need to be able to make sure I take ownership of everything that's in my preview. Being an entrepreneur, I can't have an excuse that it should have been done by somebody else, right? So that's the biggest change in perspective. And I think that that's the same case for people that are intrapreneurs. So they're entrepreneurs within an organization, but they don't have the desire yet to be that risk of going out on their own, putting all their chips into their own entrepreneur ventures. But they know how to take ownership on a project or a task and can get the job done. Entrepreneurs love intrapreneurs in their business. So that's one of the first things that I'd say that changes your perspective, is this mindset of ownership. There's a great book out there called The Oz Principle, which is about ownership, accountability, and it's the idea that when it comes to any issues, if you see it, you own it, you solve it, you do it. So think about, like, if you're at your house and you got mom and dad there and siblings, and there's somebody had spilled something on the ground and nobody cleaned it up, and every time people walked by it and nobody took ownership of that. So the moment that you see an issue, you own it yourself. You don't wait for some other department to take care of it. There's no other person. You see the issue, you own it and say, I'm going to take care of it. and then you figure out the best way to solve it. And you might have to deploy other people. You might have to reach out to other departments, but you basically take ownership of that, and that's going to really push you into that next realm of entrepreneurship, because you aren't letting things get slide by. The other thing that I'd say when you, the big change in perspective when it comes to being an entrepreneur, and it goes to this team concept, is that you understand very quickly that if you want to have real growth, you need to hire smarter, more talented, and more ambitious people than you. Now, they might not necessarily want to grow your business to this maximum venture that you want to, but they have amazing amount of ambition for themselves to succeed, and you need to find out as an entrepreneur, as the owner, what that is, and pull the best out of them. Their key performance indicator, their KPI, is the abbreviation as it's being thrown around out there. And so once you realize that you're going to be hiring better talent than you need to get really good at your leadership skills, because the moment that better talent, like smarter talent in different areas, right, realize that you don't really have a vision of where the business is going, they're going to get very nervous that you can help drive that revenue line. So hopefully those are the two key pieces I think that can really be advantageous for you as you change your mindset from going from employee to entrepreneur. If there's any topics that you guys want to hear, feel free to reach out to me. And if this didn't hit the mark, let me know. Have a great day.